Good day. Just getting to the plot, and I see I didn't secure this back on the other day. It had lots of snail droppings on it, you may remember, and I gave it a good hose down and then covered it up. Not well enough, clearly. Thankfully, though, it's not been eaten by pigeons, which is great. And as I was coming down, one of our tenants, long-standing tenants here, said, "Oh, I put something on your shed door. Did you get it?" Which just shows you haven't been down here since Monday, because he put it there then. And I know exactly, well, he's told me, so I know exactly what it is. Let's just go over here. You see in there? Tomatoes. Oh, the wind. Tomatoes and courgettes. Look at those jewels. And now, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's just starting to rain, so I'm going to get into the poly for a moment. Well, welcome to this week's A Week at the Plot, and that was rather a welcome for me on the shed door. That was absolutely lovely. There's several people here who've said, we feel so sorry for you about your tomatoes being bitten by blight. Please have some tomatoes. So that was another person who said that. There's a couple who they've given us quite a lot of potatoes and onions and various other things in the past. They're going away for a week, and they have said to me, go down to the plot and just pick whatever you want from the plot. Particularly, they've got lots of tomatoes. I mean, of course, I wouldn't take any squash or anything like that, but if there's tomatoes or cucumbers, then or anything that's going to go over by the time they get back, then I would, of course. And of course, when I do that, I'll also see if anything needs water. Quid pro quo and all of that. Yeah, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Yes, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. The fellow plotter who was down, who I walked down with, he's doing some animal husbandry, so I can see some smoke going on. We're in that period at the moment where we're not allowed bonfires. During the summer months and the end of spring and the beginning of autumn, we're not allowed fires. However, if there's animal husbandry or if there's site management purposes that need to go on, that is allowed as long as it's approved by a member of the committee. So yeah. Anyway, I came down literally to pop in and water. I haven't been down here since Monday morning, I think, and this bed in the poly and the things in the greenhouse really did need a water. So even though I've given them both sets of plants a good water, I'm going to be down here for another 15 or 20 minutes, and I'll fill up the watering can again, and I will give them a second drenching each of water, and then that will tide me over till Friday, because I don't think I'll be down here tomorrow. Things outside are gaining rain from the skies. I mean, rain only comes from the skies, doesn't it? Gaining water from the skies, that's what I mean as rain. There's a few things like the mint. I put a tray underneath the mint now so that any rain that does come down gets captured, because of course they don't mind water, so I'm doing that. There's a few other things on the benches that need a good water, because even though we are getting regular sort of spells of rain, there's still quite a drying wind, and that drying wind, if we have rain that sort of just comes down and hits the top of the soil, goes down about maybe a centimetre and then runs off, the drying wind that then follows on from that, you know, over the next 6 or 12 or 24 hours can just take all that moisture away. It will, the friction of the wind will help evaporate that and take that away from the soil. So, you know, do be wary of that when you're looking at whatever you have got in the ground. In terms of the ponds here, they're all pretty full at the moment. So, and the frogs do seem to be happy. What I do need though is I need the frogs to be happy in the water and then to get out and about and eat those slugs and snails. Because again, the chicory outside in the raised bed, 3 of those have been munched since Monday morning. Hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. As I say, you know, if we weren't fortunate enough to have the money to go to a supermarket, to go to Lidl and buy decent food, this year would have been so challenging eating wise from the plot. And we've been very lucky. People have given us tomatoes, you know, we've been gifted tomatoes from subscribers as well, and various other things. And you know, if we'd had to buy tomatoes, which I haven't bought any tomatoes this year because we've been lucky enough to be gifted some and have a few of our own. I mean, I bought tin tomatoes. I mean, sort of eating tomato salad tomatoes. You know, I could have bought them because we have the money to buy them, but if I didn't have what am I trying to say? If I didn't have the money to go to a supermarket, boy, would it have been difficult to eat from this plot this year. It really, really would have been. But there we are. We have seasons like that, don't we? And of course, farmers have seasons like that as well. You know, what will the potato crop be like when that gets harvested, the late potatoes? How will they be? Who will know? Well, we'll know with the prices in the shops and the quality of what's in the shops. So we will find out then. It actually looks to me as though it's going to chuck it down. It really does. There's a big band of grey sky coming in over from the west of us. And I think what I'm going to do is finish it here for this segment, get to the water butt, fill up that watering can, splash splash here, splash splash in the greenhouse, refill it so that it's full for when I get back down here again, and go home. And I will see you another day. So not a very full or informative segment of a week at the plot today, and all a little bit rambling. Hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. See you very soon. Bye. Yeah, it's getting very dark. It's getting dark. I don't think I'm going to get home before it starts absolutely chucking it down. Bye. Good day. It's Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon, about 5 o'clock. And I needed to water the greenhouse and the poly, as I haven't been down since Wednesday. In fact, things in the greenhouse did need water. The poly was okay. This sunshine is quite glorious. It really is. It feels more like late summer sunshine than autumn sunshine to me, though we are firmly in autumn now. I mean, when I look out the door here, it feels to me like the beginning of October rather than, you know, a week or so into September. But that's the way it goes this year. That's the way it goes. It has been really quite cold over the last few days, and we had frost on a flat roof at home last night. And even though our plot doesn't look as though it's been hit by frost, I can see on our neighbour's plot, you might be able to see their squash leaves on the right. Some of those have been bitten by frost, and just looking around the site generally, there's a few places which are usual frost pockets that have been bitten by frost. It's the earliest frost I've ever known, and I was talking to another plotter who's been here about 3 decades, and he was saying it was the earliest frost he has ever known, by far, by many weeks in fact. So there we are. It is supposed to get warmer, and certainly in the sunshine at the moment it's rather glorious. but over the coming days it's supposed to get a bit back to normal September temperatures, because over the last few days it's really been quite difficult to accept that we're in September rather than October. Anyway, I was down seeing Vanessa yesterday at For Her Sake and the Great Green Barn, and it was her birthday, a big birthday. She's now in her 8th decade, I reminded her. And even though it was a work day, she surprised me by saying that there were a few things that she wanted to do. And they were actually to go out for lunch, which was lovely. I bought lunch yesterday. It was at a fantastic place called Watts Gallery in Compton in Surrey. An amazing gallery, never been there before. I'm not really a gallery person, though this one really did quite move me. The works in it of the painter George Watts really did quite move me. But it's also known for pottery. It's been famous for its pottery for a very, very long time. And next door to it is Main Chance Horse Sanctuary, and the lovely Jenny Seagrove, who I have known for many decades. It's her charity. Main Chance is her charity. She founded it many years ago, and it rescues horses, right? It's a horse sanctuary. And the three of us stood and watched the horses in glorious sunshine yesterday, and wonderful landscaped fields of Main Chance. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of the gallivanting gallops of the horses yesterday. And remember, all of these are rescue horses. You'll hear Jenny's voice shouting out some of the horses' names, and Vanessa's voice as well. It was just glorious, just glorious. It really was. So here's a little snippet.
But Timmy knows some of them because they've all been together.
Somebody's feeling good.
Way! Go, Blue Boy! Bless her!
Oh, gorgeous sight.
Timmy and the boys are just standing there.
They're like, yeah, done that, been there.
So there we are. That really did lift the mood yesterday, and I mean, I was in a good mood, but it still lifted the spirits seeing those horses. And they also have Shetland horses there, and they got rescued chickens as well. It really is quite a vast undertaking, and costs, you know, many hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to run. But it really is quite glorious. It was the first time I've been there. We are a horse sponsor. We sponsor the horse Ziggy, and it was nice to finally meet Ziggy as well, which was lovely. Anyway, there we are. I am going to leave it here. I'm going to sit outside in the sun with my sunglasses on and just enjoy a little bit of quiet. And I'll see you tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday, for a further segment of A Week at the Plot. See you then. Bye. Good day. It's a rather sunny Sunday morning, around 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock by now. I came down to sow some Nemesia or Nemesia, depending upon how you pronounce it. And as I was walking with my bag of compost up here, I thought, no, sort out that buddleia, cut it back, it's getting in your way. You can see that the bigger buddleias behind are also getting in my way, so I'm going to be sorting those out at some point. But I just thought I would start here. I've cut most of the big, well, all I think of the big branches off, cutting them down to about 18 inches of the ground, and I carted them off to one of our dead hedges and have pushed them into our dead hedge branch by branch, not just bunged on top or put in several at a time. It's best to do it branch by branch, because then you can weave it into the dead hedge much easier. I put some aside at the back, which I'm going to do cuttings from now, and then I'll come back and give it a little tidy when I have done that and taken everything else over to the dead hedge. But yeah, I'm pleased just to get some space into this area, and I think it will also benefit the lettuce which are in the poly, because as the sun swings around from sort of the top right hand of the screen here around to the top left hand, it will allow more sun to go into the poly during a good few more hours of the day. So I think a sensible move on my part, or at least I hope so. Anyway, cuttings time. You've seen me take cuttings before, so maybe let's just sort of do a quick skip through what I do. Not sure if you can see here, but these are some sage cuttings I took a few, well, maybe a month, 6 weeks ago. Really good root system. There were 4 in here, 2 died, 2 have taken. So actually this is another one where we had sort of poor take on the root, on the cutting rather. So I'm just gonna pop that in there. That one's in the middle, that one's a little at the edge. I'll let these grow on over the winter and then just pot them on a bit next year. But 2 cuttings for virtually no money at all. I've got a branch here from which there's lots of new growth. Hopefully you can see that. You can see there's 2 good sprigs of new growth there. And what I'm going to do is first of all just cut it off right at the base from the main growing stem, and then you can see how this is mostly, or I don't know, about just over 6 inches long. I'm going to cut under that growth there, hopefully you can see. Take those off, pop that into rooting powder, make a hole in the corner, pop that in, and then firm that down. So again, let's go back to this one. Cut it off just below that growth node there. Take that pair of leaves off, that pair of leaves off, pop it in rooting powder, make a hole in the corner, pop that down, and then firm it. Don't make it solid, just firm it. So this one's on the bigger branch. Again, I want about sort of 6 inches of relatively soft wood there. Take that off there, that pair of leaves off, that pair of leaves off, pop it in the rooting powder, hole in the corner, down it goes, firm it. I'm going to carry on with this till I've got 8 cuttings. the cuttings of buddleia. You can see at the back there, there's 12 now. I did 12 in total. And I've cut back our basil, hoping to get another flush out of these. Maybe the ones in the larger pots, the 4 in the larger pots, will be able to go home at some point. Over here at the back we've got the Kimi de Rapa, the broccoli rabe, which is doing okay. Mixed germination, I think it's fair to say. And then at the front is the garlic kale, again quite mixed germination. The garlic kale that I put in the bed that I sowed a week or so ago germinated pretty well and then was mown down by slugs or snails. So it's a good thing I did do these. Fingers crossed with these. This is a comfrey that I took out when I was doing the bed next to the greenhouse. This is another one. I don't think that was just a bit of root. That one doesn't seem to have grown at all. And I've just been sort of tidying the greenhouse up a little bit. I put the lettuce down here to make a bit of room. And I pricked out the lettuce that we sowed about 4 weeks ago. This is our own save seed, and this is Gloire de Dauphine. Or Gloire Dauphine, in fact. There's no dirt in there. Yeah, pretty poor germination. Again, germination seems to be an ongoing issue. Our gazanias at the back I've kept in pots. I've just enjoyed their flowers. How could you not enjoy that? Enjoyed their flowers in the greenhouse. And these are the Nemesia that I've just sown. And they're going to be staying in this greenhouse under here just to keep them a little bit warmer. It says they need 15 to 20 degrees constant heat. They're not going to get that. They wouldn't even get that in our house. But I'm hoping that we'll get some germination in those. So yeah, that's good. And fingers crossed for all of these. I hope our basil does get a second flush. When I came down, my plan was just to sow that Nemesia. And you know, as often happens, as I've said before, things change. And when I saw that buddleia, I thought, no, time to cut that back because I'm avoiding it. It's sort of blowing in my way. It'll allow more sun onto the poly, which is good at this time of year. So that job is now done. It still needs a little bit of tidying, and I will do that at some point next week. The basil, I hope, will have a second flush. I mean, fingers crossed, you know, I really do. Tidying up the greenhouse. I mean, it wasn't unkempt, but it needed a bit of a tidy. So in pricking out those lettuces and doing those cuttings of the buddleia, which I hadn't expected to do, that actually then gave me the impetus to go into the greenhouse and say, right, I'm going to move these trays around. That's going to go there. That's going to go there. That leaves room to do that. Then that leaves room for me to put the little sort of non-electric incubator thing at the end, which the Nemesia is in. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with what I have done. I need to pot on a fig into a larger pot, so I'm going to do that before I go home. But I'm pleased with what I've done this morning, and it's got me out for a couple of hours. Richard is with his sister at the moment. Our niece has gone off to do her stall at King's Cross with her pet portraits. So she will be back later on today. So I've grabbed a couple of hours. They can have a couple of hours on their own. And now I'm going to go home and heat up some soup so that we can have lunch, which is carrot and lentil soup. So yeah. Right. that is it for this week's A Week at the Plot. Whatever is happening in your garden, your growing space, or your allotment, I'm sure you're finding that you go out to do something and then you think, oh, actually I will do that, but I'll also do that. Or you think, actually I won't do that today, I'm going to do that, because suddenly priorities can change when we get to our growing spaces. So whatever's happening, if you are changing your plans, I hope that you are still enjoying what you're doing. And the final thing I'm going to do in this segment is take the last bit of cuttings of the buddleia over to our dead hedge at the side of the River Brent and say goodbye. See you very soon, and happy growing. Bye.